Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
What up, Jared?
Not much, man. We have Greg Isenhour, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Good to be chatting with you again.
Yeah.
I want to get some updates. I love getting the updates from athletes because, things happen. And I've just seen some stuff, in the group of you participating in some other events. And I'd just love to get an update from you. But before we do that, if you could give everybody a quick intro to who you are, just in case they didn't listen to your previous episode.
Sure. So, Greg Isenhour, I have been married for 34 years, got 2 kids. I'm executive at a trucking company in the Dallas area. I train 4 to 5 days a week, depending on the week. I'm on the hard to kill track, and that's really about it. No,
Awesome.
Nothing exciting, man.
Hey, it's all exciting to me. 34 years of marriage is exciting. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
All right, man. Well, let's dive into it. So if anyone hasn't listened to the episode that we first did with Greg, go back and listen to it. Pretty phenomenal story of just what you've done and all the events and medals you've racked up and just your journey in general. But I'd love to get an update. I don't even know how long it's been since the last podcast, but just updates. What's new in your world as far as training and what have you been up to and all that good stuff?
So from the last podcast, it's almost a year, not quite.
Yeah.
I think it's 10 months ish. So in that time, I think I did the Oklahoma City Marathon. I've done an obstacle course race. The last time we talked, I just got done with Baton.
Yeah.
I'm actually training for that again.
Nice.
So one was not enough, apparently.
Yeah, you were pretty sore last time, I think, because it was like days after the event was recorded.
It was actually horrible. So I'm not exactly sure why.
I remember you saying you were like mad at that one. You're like,
yeah, but that's my go-to emotion for most things is to get pissed off, and then it seemed to go pretty well from there. I'm actually training right now for a Tier 1 Bone Frog event that I'm going to do in January. Then I'll do Oklahoma City, I'll do Baton, and then after that, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. Probably rest a little bit.
Probably the 100-mile bike race with me in Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
You're the only person who is even realistically on the docket, like someone who could actually do it, and you're in the area, so there's no travel obstacles. So just keep it in the back of your mind. You
get a sweet GGA jersey.
Yeah.
I probably should go ahead and do it. I've been looking at it for probably 3 years, especially when I was doing Ironman quite a bit. That race I was like, well, I got to do a 100-mile bike ride anyway. That seemed like a good one to go do, and I just haven't done it. So
yeah, it's not that hot anyway. You're used to the Texas weather.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, a lot of events, and this has kind of been a theme with some athletes I've been talking to lately. Why do the events? What's the big reason behind doing them for you?
Well, for me, it's like I kind of think of it as a reward. So most people think of the event as the punishment for not working out correctly or whatever. For me, I train hard, so it's like a celebration of what I'm capable of doing. And as I told you guys my journey last time, it was just barely being able to run around the block. So now I do all these really long events, and it's just a way for me to get out and go, look, all this work that you're doing, it really does make a difference. I'm actually 54 years old, and to get out and do all this stuff at my age, I look on Facebook and some of my friends are, having heart attacks and passing away, and they don't get around all that well. And to me, I'm like, look, I'm just going to keep doing this until I fall down and can't do it anymore. So, I mean, it's really just a longevity thing. So I think the more I can do these events, the longer I can do these events, the better I'm going to be. So
that's awesome, man. I love that mindset. Now, you mentioned you're 54 years old. I'd love to, I mean, you're holding it down for the 50 plus really well too. It's not like you're doing like a 5K, you're doing some pretty serious stuff. So what advice would you have? This is different than the best advice for garage gym athletes, but what advice would you have for 50 plus? Because we have quite a few in our community. And sometimes they're probably like, oh, well, don't listen to the young guy, in the 30s. So like, what's the different perspective at 50 plus that you think that other people should be taking into consideration, whether it's training wise, recovery wise, anything like that?
Well, for me, I mean, the older I get, the more recovery plays a big part of what I can and can't do, because some of the workouts that we do just crush me. And so I'll get up on a Sunday and I'm like, holy crap, I can barely move around the house. And so a lot of stretching, a lot of, more water, things like that. So my advice to older people is just don't be afraid to do it. Get out there and try it. What's the worst that could happen is you won't finish maybe, but you're still out there. If you're out there at all, you're probably better than 90% of the population. So, age is just a number. And I say that only because I guess I'm in pretty decent shape for a guy my age. If I was to say that to somebody else, they're like, yeah, that's easy for you to say. But it didn't come without pain, right? You earn what you get. So nothing's free. And that's, I guess that's a long-winded way of me saying, just get out there and do it. It's you'll be glad that you did. I'll put it that way.
And it's funny what that can lead to. It was just last night, Emily had not hit her workout for the day. And I don't normally hold anyone in my family accountable for that kind of stuff, especially not the marriage relationship. If you want to work out today, do it. If you don't, that's fine too. Like, I'm not going to get in your business. But I was like, hey, let's go swing a kettlebell after the kids go to bed. And she was like, okay. She's like, I'll do it, whatever, like, 5 or 10 minutes. That's fine. And then, afterwards, she basically like a 5-minute warm up with a kettlebell. And then she ended up doing a full workout,
Yep.
and that wasn't really my intention. I was just like, I didn't want to like sit around and do nothing. So we did something, and then she ended up doing a full workout. And it's funny when you just do those micro commitments. You said, just get out there, just start, do something. What it can lead to once you're on that path, it can be really big. Like, I don't know if you ever expected when you started running around the block to be doing, tier 1, the frog, was Battle Frog in January.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what your expectation was, but it's
No.
come a long way.
Yeah. And I agree. There's days, and I wouldn't say they're all the time, but there's certainly days I wake up and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling, I'm not going to do it. And I made a commitment to myself. If I ever tell myself that, I have to go out and work out. I have to. So on the days where you like, man, I just don't feel like it. If I ever say that, I have to get out of bed and go do it. So if I ever wake up and go, man, let's go bust a workout, I guess I could ignore that one, based on my rule. But, like for me, seeing like that tier 1 event on the calendar, it drives me to get out of bed every morning, go do the workout when it's cold, when it's raining. It doesn't matter. They're not going to stop the event because it's cold and raining. So, and actually the worse it is in training, the better it is at the event. So, I mean, seeing those things on the calendar, it's extra motivation to get up and do the things that you're supposed to be doing.
So that's pretty phenomenal, man. So you're saying when you're like kind of beat down mentally, it's a day where you're just like, I don't want to do this. Not today. You made a deal with yourself to where you're like, if that person, that's what I call meeting yourself, is the conversation you're having where like, you're going to go do it anyway. So if that person shows up and is like, I'm not feeling it today, you just smash that voice in your head and you're like, nope, I have to. So like, it's like a trigger. It's like, whenever I don't feel like it, that's the day I absolutely have to do it.
Correct. Yep. If I ever wake up and say, man, today is just not it, I have to go out and do it. I made a deal with myself, and I've been doing that now for probably 5 years. It was in the middle of my Ironman training, because there were some days that, man, everything just hurt and you didn't want to do it. And I'm like, okay, it's not going to run itself, and you don't want to get out there halfway through it and die. So
right.
get up and go do it. And I've just kept that philosophy, and it works well for me.
I love that philosophy. I mean, so I guess the only days that you would skip then are the days where you do feel like it, which you won't skip. So it's
right.
It works out perfectly.
Yeah, it works out well.
That's great, man. Awesome. So I guess I'll go to. We kind of got some of the background from last time, so I just want to see if some of these other answers to these questions have changed since we last spoke. So, what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Yeah, that would changed. So I did a Green Beret challenge workout midsummer, and it was, I do a lot of stuff with the backpack, and that workout just happened to be with the backpack. So it started out with 100 burpees with the backpack on, and then it was like 100 burpees with the backpack on, take the pack off, swing it, put the pack back on, do push-ups, take it off, do some squats. It was just horrible, and it was hot. That was by far the worst thing I've done. The 100 burpees almost killed me, and that's like the buy-in, to get started, right, to then do everything else. So, yeah, that one was pretty rough.
And so, what's in the pack? Is it just?
So it's my backpack with I actually have it's a plate that fits in there and it ties down so it doesn't move around, but it's a 35-pound plate.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so 100 burpees with a 35-pound plate is a lot. Just if you're wondering.
Serious.
Yeah, you'll feel that one if you want to try it. It's horrible.
Wow. And so the backpack, is it one of those from Rogue, like that's meant to hold a plate, or is it just a plate that you have fit in a backpack?
No, it's actually a GoRuck pack. And
okay.
The plate is from GoRuck as well.
Oh, okay. So, got it.
And it all fits in there. It straps down. It doesn't move around. It's I mean, as far as that goes, it's great. It's a horrible apparatus. It does
its purpose well.
Yeah, it serves its purpose. Yeah, without a doubt.
Designed well. Yep. All right. So how about this one, man? Your best, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness, and has that changed since we last spoke?
No, not really. I mean, anything that makes you uncomfortable or that you have to do when you really don't want to goes a long way to building, resiliency and things like that. So, and I can, all the things that I do at home feed into work as well. So there's days that I have a report due or something. I was like, God, I don't want to do that. And, it's ingrained in me now that, okay, if you really don't want to, that's when you have to. So, and I've heard people say it's unloading the dishwasher, it's running the vacuum, it's any of those things that you really don't want to do. Just go ahead and do it. And as you build on that, pretty soon you won't allow yourself to have the excuse not to do it.
So I'm kind of like, I love this idea, but it just keeps triggering new questions for me. So what's the new, I guess because the whole premise behind Meet Yourself, these Meet Yourself Saturday workouts or these events, at least in my view is, the more time you shut that person down, or that talk that wants to slow down, that wants to quit, that doesn't want to do it, the more times you shut that person down or that version of yourself down, the less they start to show up. So question one, have you found that to be true? Like there are less times, like fewer days where you wake up and say, I don't want to do this? Or is it kind of like a consistent thing that shows up regularly?
No, I would say, I mean, so from now compared to back 5 years ago, it's certainly much less. And typically when I don't feel like working out, it's because I'm sore or, it was a really bad work. Like today's workout kicked my ass for whatever reason. So I'll feel it tomorrow. The good thing is tomorrow's a day off. Right. But, it's certainly, at least for me, the more I get to that point and talk myself out of it, the less it shows up. So for an event, I really don't get an event anymore and go, God, man, I just really don't want to finish this thing. It's like, look, let's do this thing. Let's grind it out. And no matter how bad it sucks, it's just, I guess I won't say I'll never quit. But I can't imagine what would make me quit. Right. That sounds arrogant, but I've done some pretty nasty events and some of them have really sucked. And the thought of not finishing it never crossed my mind. So.
That's awesome. All right. Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm probably still going to stay with my backpack. I mean, I can do so much with it. And I've done some ass-kicking workouts with it. So it gives you all you want, and it's portable. I'll take it with me. We're actually leaving to go to Oklahoma for Christmas, and that's the one thing I'm going to take with me because I can, like I said, I can strap it on. I can do burpees with it on. I can run with it on. It's horrible. Don't get one.
Burpees with it on.
Yeah. I don't know that I'll ever do that again. That was horrible.
I might be doing some online shopping as soon as this podcast is over.
Yeah, I mean, you can do presses with it. You can, I mean, there's any barbell movement pretty much you can do with it. And for me, it's very easy. It just throws in the back of the car, and I have like a little gym on my back. It's great. Throw my jump rope in there, and away you go.
Perfect. All right, Joe, you have anything before I get to the last one?
Do we go over? Have there ever been any changes to your garage gym equipment setup?
Yeah. I actually I ended up with a treadmill. I posted.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually worked out pretty well because, like I said, I'm training for Baton, and that thing it does inclines and all that, and it's been miserable the last few mornings here. It's 20 degrees and raining, and I didn't feel like going outside, so I just went there and stepped on the treadmill. So it actually worked out pretty well. But that's the biggest addition, yeah.
Yeah, I have not played with the treadmill enough, but I can see talk about inclines and everything like that. We're both in Texas, not far from each other. Those are hard to find.
They are. Yep.
Significant inclines, they're hard to find. And so being able to replicate that, especially if you're going to an event that has those kind of things is a big deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, because finding an incline at Baton is not a problem. So
right.
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
All right. So what is your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there listening?
I would say just continue what you're doing. Don't stop, don't slow down. No matter where you are, just keep building on that and just keep going. For me, I look at this thing as a really long, I've already been doing it for probably 10 years plus. And I'm looking out 20 more years, 30 more years. I probably can't continue at the pace I'm at when I'm 80. But if I can do one event a year and continue to work out and all that when I'm 80, then I'm in. And I think the only way to do that is to continue the daily practice of being fit, eating right, sleeping well. That's what's going to get you to be an old guy. And that's where I'm heading. So
that's awesome, man. Well, it's always a blast talking to you, and maybe with a little bit more coaxing, I could get you to the Hotter Than Hell. So I'll be messaging you on Facebook and whatnot. But Greg, I really do appreciate you being on the podcast, and thanks for your time, and thanks for being the Garage Gym Athlete, man.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.